Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Vinland Saga episode 15. So last episode was probably my favorite of the season. Just all of these moments where we get to see things from afar and experience things from another perspective. They're really great. I'm expecting this episode we're probably hopping back into the main story, but there could be some consequences of leaving Anne alive. Maybe she rats them out to someone or something, so there could actually be some further consequences of this episode. So before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon page. Over there you can find 1 week early access, so you can get episode 16 and 17 right now. You can also find polls so you can vote for what's next, and you can find a full-length timer-based version of this where you just sync up your own footage and you can watch along with me. So yeah, let's just jump right in.
そうか。クヌートは死んだか。
Oh, they believe him dead, yeah.
正確には行方不明と。
Look at all these scars on the king, wow.
生き延びて救助を待っておるやもしれんが。
Send Floki down to rescue him?
王陛下におかれましては、ご心注意かばかりかと。
How much does the king actually care about him though?
持ち合わせていたならば、行方知れずになどならずに済む。
Yeah, it's just a bit of a disappointment. I love how they show King Sway and he's always so, like, warty and disgusting. He's like really old and disgusting, isn't he? Covered in warts and scars and, old and wrinkly as well a bit now as well, you know. And I do wonder if we will see King Harold at some point. We've only seen like, it wasn't like really seeing him, it was like seeing this almost like tapestry of him, wasn't it, when someone was talking about him. And will we get any of Canute's backstory? They kind of hint into it a bit there in the opening.
戦争が終わる。冬よ。
Oh, that looks lovely.
おお、冬よ。
We don't usually get winters like that anymore. We very rarely get snow in England now, especially where I am in the country.
わかんねえよ。あれを担ぎ上げて信王朝を旗揚げとかよ。あんたがみこしの担ぎ手ならちょっとした勢力になりそうだな。
Does he actually care about that though?
またか、くそ。己ならず者どもめ、この町を食いつく。これじゃ略奪と大差ないっすよ。
Yeah, let's go through all of it. He's so huge as well, he must eat and drink a load.
デンマークがイングランドを飲み込むんだ。貴族どもは王権を捨ててでも戦争を。
Okay, so yeah, England's basically surrendering.
悪い予感ってのはどうしてこう当たる。
Still missing his fingers.
俺は喧嘩は大好きだが、負けるのは大嫌いだ。やるなら勝ちに行く。
Okay, so he hates losing as well. It's not just the thrill of the fight. He loves the win.
異常はねえか、耳よ。終わりだ、クソ寒いぜ。
His ears are cold.
んだ。さすがの俺でも聞き取れる範囲は狭く。
Oh, okay, that's a cool detail.
この者たちを殺めし者たちの魂をお救いください。私どもの罪を。
That's lovely as well, the way the sun's coming through.
父よ。私の声はあなたの耳に届いているのでしょう。
Losing faith, he doesn't think his words are reaching God.
そなたそれでもキリスト教徒か。恐れを知るがいい。我らが父の愛を疑うことなどあってはならぬ。
So Canute doesn't question it a bit. He's really devout to it.
我が子を愛おしく思わぬ父親などいない。
Is that true? I do wonder how much that applies to Canute and Swayan. Or is that just Canute trying to cope with that, you know? That his father might not love him?
父上。
And that's got Four thinking back on Fours.
生き残った村民の話によると、敵兵はおおよそ100。
Oh, yeah. And does come back into it a bit.
トルフィンとクヌートだ。
Yeah, he's going back in.
弁当の用意頼むぜ。500人前を。
That's completely wiped out all of their stocks, their stockpile of food.
レーザー、この喧嘩うまくするとまだまだ楽しめるかも。
Yeah, yeah, you can still have some fun. I don't know if you could sway the way of the war, but you can definitely have some fun. I guess like if you took out swaying and Canute, they like lose the leadership. Could that sway the battle in any way?
なら夜までに仕上げろ。間に合わねえ荷車は捨てる。無理だっつうの。
Get some more men helping build.
バレた。おうよ。この雪かき分けてきやがって。
The sleds will be a big help, but I imagine they're just for Canute and Ragnar to sit in. I'm really liking this arc of the story where it's kind of like a race up north, you know? Or a cat and mouse chase between Askalad's men and Forkel.
いい機会だ。ついでにあれやるぞ。
Oh? They've got another goal?
やばいんじゃねえか。平気だろう。イングランドの兵隊は弱えからな。
Could the other goal maybe be taking out Forkel because he's such a big enemy?
ドカ雪に続いてこれだ。あいつの計画が立て続けに狂うなんて初めてだ。
Or is this all part of his plan?
野菜と一緒に煮込め。そのウサギはスープにしてやろう。
俺の飯をどう食おうが俺の勝手だ。
He's such a... I don't know how old he is. He's like 15. He's such a 15-year-old. Doesn't eat his veggies. And if he has to cook for himself, it's real simple. So he's just been a carnivore up until this point?
ご苦労。血を抜いて内臓を洗っておけ。
Canute is just a great housewife. Yeah, he hasn't had a meal like this in ages.
ウサギのおかげだ。塩漬け肉には空いていた。礼を言うぞ。
See, is there a little bit of a friendship here?
そなたのウサギだ。
Yeah, Thorfinn has been cooking for himself this whole time, being isolated. This is probably the best thing he's had in years.
だが陛下は召し上がるどころか激しく
Yeah, it's not his role as a prince.
王の子が卑しき奴隷の真似事をするなと。以来僕は料理などせぬこと。
Wow. Yeah, so much of his life is just controlled, isn't it? But I feel like it's good for someone in that high up position to have these everyday skills that keeps them grounded, you know, to an everyday experience.
なるほどな。
ラグナ
Still
伝令だ伝令。
a good protector though.
どういうことじゃ。この村に潜んでまだ10日だぞ。なぜバレた。知るかよ。
Oh, is he starting to doubt that? Maybe you think there's a leak or something.
村人たちを皆殺しにしてまで。
Yeah, and that means they killed those villagers for nothing. That's true.
アシェラット連れてこい。今すぐだ。
今は前線で指揮を取ってます。
Oh, Askalad's actually out there fighting.
今日こそ剣にかけて愚かさを思い知らせてやるわい。
I always love the sunsets and sunrises in this show. Look at this orange.
貴様ら何を。
What's going on here? Are they here to take him out? Oh! Stabbed in the back. Is this what this other plan was? Skalad was trying to take him out.
すまねえな、とんがり頭。アシュラットの命令なんでね。
Okay. I mean, he probably is holding them back a bit with how he treats Canute and everything, how argumentative he is. If Ragnar's not here, will Canute just go along with everything now? So was that all a lie, the battle?
王子殿下に関わることだ。直接話す。
Okay, something about the prince.
人払いしますか。
Is he's still like quite cordial, he still respects it a bit.
まったくスープが冷めてしまったじゃないか。
Oh right, he never got to finish his last meal.
イングランド兵に殺された貴殿の代わりにね。
Yeah, so they'll say he died in that battle, of course.
時代のデンマーク王の座をめぐって
Okay.
二派に分かれてと殿下は一方の派閥の旗頭。
Oh, is it going to be Canute versus Harold? Oh, seeing a bit more of him. Has he got a handlebar? Okay, so yeah, there's a power struggle with Swayan once he passes.
おそらく一つの決断を内心両殿下のうちどちらかを殺そう。
Yeah,
僕が王子を
to choose what side he wants to remain in power.
戦場へ伴ったのは殿下を戦死させるためだ。心せよ。
Yeah, it was all to sabotage Canute anyway, potentially.
今やお父上のすべの王陛下その人なのだ。
That's the assumption that it's Canute that he wants to kill and not Harold, but I can't see why he'd want to kill Harold instead of Canute.
ゲンズバレでわしの弟が段取りをつけていて。
Oh, okay. Ragnar's got a younger brother. Yeah, I was always quite questioning Swayan's relation to Canute, but that makes a lot of sense if he thinks the nation will be divided.
最後に一目でいい。一目殿下にお別れよ。ダメだ。
Because he died in battle. He's got to keep that story.
一緒に鶏料理でも。
Yeah, set that up earlier. I wonder if we'll ever see a scene where he cooks some fowl, but will there ever be a moment when wars are over, you know? That was surprisingly touching because for me, Ragnar, you know, he's a pretty good character, but he's never been the most like likable, you know. His devotion to Canute is commendable though. Okay, so there we have episode 15 of Vinland Saga. Some really cool revelations there. So we're seeing that there's these two factions now. One believes in Prince Canute, and Canute's been kind of made the de facto leader of that faction without really wanting that role. I mean, that's most of his life really. And then there's King Harold on the other side, and then as Ragnar was saying as he was dying, the king might choose one of them and kill the other so he can make that choice to keep control, to keep like the nation united, you know, instead of it being divided between the two factions. The thing is, that is making the assumption that he would go with Harold, but really we haven't seen much of Harold, but we've seen the way he acts around Canute, the way he thinks of Canute, and he probably views Canute as quite weak, as a lot of people do. But I think this, as they were saying, this like whole mission that Canute is on now was probably a setup to get him killed anyway. The king was always trying to get him killed, and this was just a way for him to do it like passively, you know? And the thing is, you know, a lot of people, they view Canute as quite weak, but I think Ragnar has done a really good job of giving him his like normal childhood. You know, his Swayan is so devoted to like getting him to be the best version of a king, training him to be a king, you know, whereas Ragnar was just training him to be a good person. He's teaching him his life skills, his life lessons. He was more of a father than Swayan ever was, really. And, you know, he's teaching him how to cook, making that one of his hobbies, and it's good for a prince to have those skills, to have those life skills, because it's easy to just be like coddled and have everything done for you, which is the view a lot of people have on Canute anyway. They probably can't imagine that he actually cooks his own meals like that. Not all the time, but sometimes he does like to cook, which is a really cool, you know, humanizing feature for him. And I do really wonder how he'll react to this. Of course, he's going to be devastated, but like what the knock-on effects of that will be. I am wondering, you know, exactly why Askeladd actually did it. I know Ragnar, he has been a bit of a roadblock and he's been annoying, but I feel like it's never been anything like super bad but up until this point, but it could be the case that you take him out before he does something devastating, like holding you back, stopping you going a certain route or whatever. And Ragnar is maybe slowing them down. The prince and Ragnar are probably slowing them down. They've had to be in the carriage. That was probably those sleds they were building just for them. I wonder if they'll take out the priest as well, just to keep Canute. I'm not quite sure there, but either way, it's going to be devastating for Canute. But there was also this revelation that Ragnar has a younger brother, and when they get up to Gainsborough, there will be this younger brother there waiting for them who has some other plan, which is good. That there's something to keep that going. Maybe that's something to keep Canute going a bit. He can meet Ragnar's brother as well. We also had some flashes back to Thorkel and the consequences of the last episode. Anne did, snitch, and she's given away their location, which is really... It's like good. It's like a bit of revenge for her. Her whole family's dead. But that means that Thorkel knows where they are and is coming. I'm not sure how much of that battle they were talking about was actually happening, or if it was just like the men making noises so Ragnar would, think there was a battle going on. I feel like that's the case where it was all just fake, because it seems like they were closing in, but they're still like a little bit away. This was all just a dupe to get Ragnar killed, but Thorkel will be here soon, catching up, or they know that he knows, so they will be leaving very soon, I imagine. So I don't know how quick Thorkel will catch up, if it will be this episode, if it will be soon, but that will happen eventually, and he'll get his battle. And I'd say it might, Thorkel, he doesn't want to kill Canute anyway, so it's in his best interest not to. But would it be in his best interest to... I mean, if he killed Sweyn, that means that either Canute or Harold would come into power. I'm trying to think of what the best situation for Thorkel is. Because if he did that, I mean, he is Danish and working for the English, so he could just swap sides at any point, really, just to carry on fighting if he wanted. He just joined England because he thought that was the most interesting, right? But if Sweyn died before England surrendered, that means England could keep fighting, and then it's kind of like three factions fighting instead of England versus the Danish. So that could be advantageous, and England could even work their way back and win. Who knows? But then there's these two factions. Who controls what? Harold, he's already king of a few countries, right? He was king of Norway, wasn't he? From memory. So he is already in charge, and Canute doesn't actually have anyone under him at this point. Obviously there's these factions brewing that have made him the de facto leader, but I don't really know, because he was going to be king of England once England was captured, right? So maybe England will be captured and then he'll take over from Sweyn as king. But it seems like everywhere that's under Sweyn will just kind of be split between Harold and Canute, just in terms of factions, But yeah, it seems good for Thorkel. I don't think fighting is going to stop anytime soon. There's not going to be peace anytime soon, and that means that Canute won't get to cook his fowl anytime soon as well. We've seen the last episode, Canute is getting more and more expressive when he got in his argument with Thorfinn, and then this episode where he gets in the argument with the priest for the priest questioning his faith. He gets really worked up there. So I think when he finds out about Ragnar, it's really gonna get to him. Could this be the turning point? Has Askeladd just made another Thorfinn in Canute? Of course, Canute, he's not as much into violence and fighting, but Thorfinn wasn't either when he was that young age. So this is, again, there's even more mirroring between Canute and Thorfinn. They've both lost their father figures now. You know, it's not actually Canute's father, but Ragnar was way more of a father than Sweyn was. And I wonder if that will make Canute any more humanizing to Thorfinn, or Thorfinn will, you know, connect with that and their bond will grow even deeper. There was like a little bit of a friendship brewing, I feel like, this episode with the cooking. Not huge, I wouldn't say they're friends yet, but you can sense there is like a little bit of camaraderie and friendship growing between them potentially. It's like the seeds have been planted. But that moment where Ragnar was dying, it was actually really touching, much more touching than I thought it would be. You know, Ragnar, I wouldn't say he's been the most likable character so far. His devotion to the prince, as I said, has been very, like, commendable. You can respect him for that and for giving the prince, like, a good upbringing. But still, like, in this situation that they are in, he has been this bit of a roadblock for them and has been this annoyance. I wouldn't say he's the most likable character, but his death scene, you know, when he's imagining the young Canute playing around, that was really touching, actually. And I think it's more that sentiment of him thinking about Canute, his like love for Canute. That's what was really touching there. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or comment your thoughts. And if you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date on all the future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.